Throughout modern African history, political leadership has never been for the faint-hearted. Holding power in many African nations has come with high personal risk, assassination attempts, coups, foreign interference, and internal betrayals. While some leaders fell to gunfire and bombs, others narrowly escaped death, and changed history because they lived. This is the story of 10 African leaders who survived assassination. But more than that, it's the story of resilience, fate, and the dangerous weight of leadership in post-colonial Africa. 1. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana. Kwame Nkrumah, the father of modern Ghana and a leading voice in African liberation, survived no fewer than 5 assassination attempts during his presidency. One of the earliest attempts was in August 1962. While visiting Kalungugu in northern Ghana, a bomb exploded near the podium just before he was scheduled to speak. Nkrumah survived, though several others were injured. Later, a police constable was found to be behind the plot, revealing fractures even within his own security ranks. In 1964, a bomb detonated near his convoy once again. That event shook Nkrumah deeply. It confirmed his fears about internal betrayal and reinforced his belief that imperialist powers were working with local conspirators to kill him. His response? A dramatic increase in surveillance, repression of opposition, and consolidation of power. These attacks helped push him further into authoritarianism, but they also kept him alive. 2. Nelson Mandela, South Africa. Though never formally assassinated, Nelson Mandela was a constant target of apartheid-era intelligence and armed right-wing groups. During his 27 years in prison, the apartheid regime feared his influence so much that there were discussions about disappearing him entirely. While those discussions never led to direct action, they highlight the danger Mandela was constantly in. After his release, as he negotiated South Africa's transition to democracy, right-wing militias such as the Afrikaner Weerstandsbeweging actively plotted violence. Mandela refused to arm himself or respond with fear. His survival was a product of discipline, broad local support, and strategic protection from his allies. 3. Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, Ghana. Charismatic, fiery, and deeply committed to anti-corruption ideals, Jerry Rawlings was a military man who took power twice, first briefly in 1979 and then in a coup in 1981. Rawlings' unrelenting crusade against corruption made him a target for both political elites and military rivals. Several coups were plotted against him, and at least 3 credible assassination plots were foiled during his presidency. But Rawlings was no easy target. He moved unpredictably, avoided heavily armed convoys, and surrounded himself with a tight circle of trusted loyalists. He was also known to personally lead surprise military drills, keeping everyone on edge. His survival made him one of the longest-serving leaders in Ghana's modern history. 4. Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, Libya. Few African leaders have survived as many assassination attempts as Muammar Gaddafi. The most well-known occurred in 1986, when the United States launched Operation El Dorado Canyon, a direct bombing of Tripoli in retaliation for alleged Libyan involvement in a terrorist attack in Berlin. Gaddafi narrowly escaped. His home was hit, and his adopted daughter was killed. But that was just one of dozens of plots. From internal military betrayals to CIA-funded opposition groups, Gaddafi was constantly under threat. His network of bodyguards, famously made up of women known as the Amazonian Guard, was trained to take bullets for him. His survival for over 40 years made him both revered and feared. When he was finally killed in 2011 during Libya's revolution, it marked the end of an era shaped by defiance and paranoia. 5. Robert Mugabe, Zimbabwe. Long before he became Zimbabwe's leader, Robert Mugabe was hunted by Rhodesian forces during the Liberation War. He survived ambushes, assassination teams, and multiple detentions. After independence, as president, Mugabe continued to face assassination threats. In 2011, a plot to poison his food was uncovered. In another case, security agents caught military officials with plans to detonate explosives at a public rally. Despite growing authoritarianism, Mugabe remained politically sharp. He constantly reshuffled military leaders and surrounded himself with multiple layers of intelligence. Though he eventually lost power in a 2017 soft coup, he lived out his days untouched. 6. Captain Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso. Thomas Sankara, often called Africa's Che Guevara, revolutionized Burkina Faso with radical reforms and an anti-colonial message. Before his tragic assassination in 1987, Sankara survived numerous internal plots. Many of these were linked to elites threatened by his policies: land reform, wealth redistribution, and rejection of IMF loans. His refusal to travel with armored protection and his commitment to transparency made him beloved, but vulnerable. He knew the risks. In fact, he once said, "While revolutionaries as individuals can be murdered, you cannot kill ideas." He was ultimately betrayed by his former ally, Blaise Compaoré. But Sankara's legacy and courage remain powerful even today. 7. General Joseph Kabila, Democratic Republic of Congo. After his father Laurent Kabila was assassinated in 2001, Joseph Kabila assumed power at just 29 years old. The young president quickly found himself navigating a fragile post-war Congo filled with hostile militias, foreign interference, and military infighting. He survived a 2002 attempted coup, where gunmen stormed his residence. Several of his guards died, but Kabila survived. Further plots emerged in 2006 and 2011. Each time, he strengthened his grip on power, using both military loyalty and regional diplomacy to stay alive. His survival speaks to the delicate balance between force and politics in Congo's volatile landscape. 8. Emperor Haile Selassie, Ethiopia. Though not assassinated, Haile Selassie came close. In 1960, while he was on a state visit to Brazil, a coup attempt rocked Ethiopia. The coup leaders, backed by elements of the military and police, seized key government buildings and declared a new government. Selassie rushed back to Ethiopia and rallied loyal troops. He successfully crushed the coup, but it was a chilling moment. He ruled for another 15 years until he was overthrown in 1974. But in 1960, the monarchy came dangerously close to collapse, and his life was very much on the line. 9. Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Kenya. Jomo Kenyatta, Kenya's first president, was seen as a threat by many, including British colonial forces. During his detention in the 1950s, there were rumors of assassination plots to silence him permanently. Even after independence, intelligence reports revealed possible plots by both internal rivals and foreign actors. Kenyatta survived them all. His survival helped shape post-independence Kenya into a relatively stable state, though not without its own struggles. 10. General Paul Kagame, Rwanda. Rwanda's Paul Kagame is perhaps one of Africa's most controversial and strategically sharp leaders. As the former head of the Rwandan Patriotic Front, Kagame led forces that ended the 1994 genocide. Since taking power, he has survived assassination plots from abroad, including grenade attacks and sniper threats traced to rebel groups in the DRC. Kagame is a man who does not take threats lightly. His intelligence network is known to be among the most efficient in Africa. He has publicly accused enemies of trying to kill him, even outside Rwanda's borders. Whether viewed as a savior or strongman, Kagame remains one of the most protected and targeted figures in Africa today. These leaders lived where others perished. They dodged bullets, bombs, and betrayal, and reshaped their countries because of it. Power in Africa is not just about governance. It is about survival. And sometimes, survival alone is a victory. Thanks for watching. For more raw and real African history, subscribe to Scientia Media. Because Africa's untold stories deserve to be heard.